Hello, lovely teachers. Today we're looking at this book, which is My Garden Notebook by Angeline Bell. So I've looked at several of Angeline's other notebook books here on the channel, and today I thought we'd dive into this one. So I think this is especially good if you have a nature-loving student, because there's a lot of different descriptive nature type pieces in here. The leveling is the only thing that I think you need to be aware of. It says 24 easy and melodious piano solos. I wouldn't say they're all easy, so I just want to show you, before we continue, a rough idea of the leveling. So this is the first piece in the book. I would say they're in rough difficulty order, but when you get to the end of the book, you're looking at pieces like this. So yeah, a bit of a discrepancy in the leveling. It kind of goes on a journey rather than being all one level, which is more common for most supplemental books. But there's some really gorgeous pieces in there, and I think for the right student, it could be a really good fit. Let me play you a little excerpt of one of the pieces. So this is Getting Better. It is the second piece in the book. Give you a bit of a different flavor of something that happens a little bit later on in the book and has more of that nature theme. This is The Hedgehog. So obviously those are just some tiny little excerpts from the book. One of the things I love about Angeline's music is that it's all on Spotify. So she records it and puts it on Spotify, so it's really easy for students to access. A lot of books these days do give you downloadable tracks, and I think that's great. And I will upload those to our Vivid Practice app, so it is pretty easy for students to access. But if you're not using a practice app, Spotify is honestly much easier for most students to get at than downloadable track that they need to go on the site. The parent needs to be savvy enough to download those and put them on their phone or put them somewhere where they can access them and play them for the kid. So Spotify is honestly a bit easier, and I love that the music is up there. So that's why I've chosen little short excerpts to play here in the video, but you can listen to every piece in the book, which I think is fantastic. I think this book would be perfect for a student, as I say, who loves nature or needs more descriptive pieces or just needs broadening out in the styles that they're playing. It is a supplemental book, it's not a method book. However, it does progress, which, as I said earlier, is a bit unusual for a supplemental book. So you're going to want to be careful with where you're placing that and how it works for you. For many teachers, that will be fantastic because they want a student to have a supplemental book and use it for a long time. In other cases, sometimes you want students to get through a supplemental book quickly and kind of in one spurt or one sprint, and then to move on to a new one. So if that's the case, this isn't quite the right fit. But if you want a longer term supplement, I think this is fantastic to mix in with other things your student is doing. Say they're doing classical rep series, or they're in a later level of a method book and you want something to go along with that. I think this would be a great fit. For the leveling, so as I said, there's a bit of a difference in the levels of the pieces. In general, I wouldn't let a student start this until they're like at least a solid early intermediate to intermediate student. So I'd be looking at a student who's around grade 3 if we're thinking of an exam leveling system, or if we're thinking about Jane McGrath, also a level 3. That's just to give you a rough idea. You could vary that and it's open to interpretation, of course, but I think anything too much below that and a student will move quite slowly through these pieces. And the fact that there's 24 pieces, it's a great value book, but I would want a student to be moving fairly quickly through those. So that's a little bit about My Garden Notebook by Angeline Bell. Do go check it out yourself. It's published by Editions Musica Forum, so you can find it on their website, or just Google My Garden Notebook, Angeline Bell. You'll be sure to find it, or check the link that's in the description below. I hope you enjoy it.